the government of Kenya in 2008 formed the Geothermal Development Company as a wholly owned government entity to spearhead the development of geothermal resources in the country. GDC is therefore tasked with the overall responsibility of carrying out holistic development of geothermal in the country. And one of the projects that GDC has lined up to achieve its mandate is the Menengai project. The geothermal potential in Kenya is estimated at about 10,000 megawatts and actually lies mainly along the Rift Valley system. And GDC targets to tap about 5,000 megawatts of steam equivalent by 2030. It will be developed in phases. So phase 1 is targeted to produce 400 megawatts, which GDC is currently developing at Menengai. The rollout of Menengai phase 1 will be developed by GDC doing the upstream development, while the private sector will be brought in to do the downstream development, which entails mainly power plant construction and development. The Menengai project is estimated to cost about $847 million US. A significant portion of that amount is actually coming from the development partners and the government of Kenya. The government of Kenya, out of the total budget, will contribute about $360 million US, and the balance will come from the development partners. The project is estimated to be able to supply over 500,000 households with electricity, out of which approximately about 70,000 live in the rural areas. And therefore you can see how the project will actually serve to support the local communities and also to increase their levels of income. Currently we have successfully drilled 7 wells, which have successfully discharged. 4 additional wells are currently being drilled. The drilling is, we have the 2 rigs are the ones that are bought by the government of Kenya, and 2 additional rigs were bought by the French Development Agency, and we expect 2 additional rigs in the second quarter of 2013, financed by the African Development Bank. So with a total of 6 rigs, we are very confident that we'll actually be able to deliver the project to completion. We expect to drill 120 wells for the 400 megawatts. The drilling program is estimated to be completed by end of 2015, and we expect the commissioning of the power plants to be done in end of 2016 and part of 2017. But the first phase of Menengai project is going to be implemented through a public-private partnership arrangement, where GDC will do the upstream phase of the development, and then the private players will be invited to do the downstream part of the development. And we actually end up having a public and then the private players coming on board to deliver the power plant. Having said that, to that end, GDC has actually shortlisted 19 farms, as you rightly mentioned, and the 19 farms are actually procured based on the Government of Kenya public procurement regulations through a competitive bidding process. Out of the 19 farms, we will select 4 successful bidders who will then be expected to finance, design, construct and operate the power plants over an agreed period of time, after which the power plants will revert to GDC, or depending on the terms of the contract, they could be renewed. Geothermal development is a very risky venture, and the private investors will require very higher levels of returns to be able to invest in the upfront phase of development. That is why the government formed GDC, to remove the upfront risk, right? Such that the private players will now come at the phase where most of the risk has been reduced, and that will also serve to caution the consumers from higher tariffs, where the private players allowed to develop the whole phase of geothermal development and then pass that risk to the ultimate consumer through the tariffs, right? By bringing GDC on board, the government has actually ensured that risk, and therefore will serve to lower the tariffs to the final consumer at the final stage.